Okay, so here's a review on the Quark Quook, Quook. It's a machine that I got free from a giveaway, and I thought I would do a quick review because I found out that there aren't any reviews online about it, and thought this might be helpful for other people. Anyways, first thoughts, looks really cool, and it seems like it's awesome. I already did the sterilization and cleaned all the products, so it's ready to go. And I tested it out last night as well. One thing I did notice is when I open up the water reservoir, this little handle part, it seems a little bit slippery and can be hard to pick up, I guess. It would have been nice if they put a groove in under here so that it'd be easier to pick up out of there. So you can see inside there's a red line inside that tells you where your max fill line is, so it has some water in there. I'm just going to top it up with a bit more. Okay, so it's topped up to the red line. Put the lid back on, and it tells you up top which way is locked and which way is unlocked. And then you take this jar out, so you just pop it out like that. It does seem a little sticky at first, but it works. And then to get this lid off, you take off this top piece, and inside is the steaming basket, which you can see here. So I already cut up a few pieces of zucchini that I wanted to test out, and I did this the other night and it ended up being too long. The automatic setting is for 15 minutes. I'm actually going to cut it down to just a few minutes less than that, because I mean zucchini squash is quick cooking anyways, so I figure I probably need to mess around with the times a little bit. That should be enough. So the lid, it seems like it's just one directional, but you gotta put it so that this little thing is on the left, and then I think you pop it down somehow. There we go. And then it clicks into there. And then again, left-handed, you gotta make sure the handle's facing on the left when you put it on top of its stand, and then it clicks into the right. Okay, and turn on the power, and we'll steam, and I'm gonna bring it down, maybe down to 11 minutes and see how it does, because actually let's do 10 minutes and we'll see how it goes. So once it heats up, you'll see that this chamber will start heating up, and there'll be hot water that gets funneled into here, and we'll see how it goes. You can see at the bottom the puree blade, the chopper blade, is still down there, so everything just kind of stays in the main container and it'll get steamed up. Okay, so I just encountered a small problem. I apparently didn't put the lid on properly earlier. I just took it off, but the machine started squirting out hot water through this hole here all over the place and just all over my floor. But yeah, it started beeping error, and then it just stopped on its own. I had the lid on, but as you can see, it's not fully aligned here, so I have to make sure that it's clicked in properly, but it's a little bit finicky to put on, so especially one-handed here. So you can see that when I put it in, it automatically shifts the lid back over to the left, so just make sure that it clicks in all the way to the left and that it's flush on top of the other handle. So let's try that again. I'll hit steam, bring it down to 10 minutes, and it just automatically starts on its own. It has a few other features too. It has an auto blend feature, which allows it to be quote-unquote auto cleaning, and you can also manually pulse the blender part of it as well. And there's a sterilize function, and a bottle warmer as well, which is through this part in the back. So you just heat the water using the warm button, and then you heat your bottle in the back here. We already have a bottle warmer, so it's not super practical for us, but I can see how it can be a space saver for other people. The only thing is that I don't know how, like the amount of warmth that it would warm up would probably vary depending on what bottles you're using and the amount of milk. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it, but the water is steam and hot water is basically coming through now. So it's steaming through that hole that I pointed out earlier, and it's just getting steamed inside this container now. And then excess water is just dripping to the bottom. You can see the chopper blade down below as well. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have less than a minute left on this timer here, and you can see that it's steamed inside, and it's still going, and now it's done. So it's just beeping to let me know. It says it'll beep 5 times. When it's done, you can see the instruction booklet thing is just one-sided sheet. Here has all the parts listed on there as well. Excuse the mess in the back there. So now I can take it out, and let's see, so I turn it, whoops, I need to turn it this way, and it beeps that there's an error because the thing's off, but I can power it down to turn it off. Okay, so here's the container. You can see there's some water down below where the chopping blade is underneath the steaming basket. So I'll just pop that to the left and take this off. And not bad. So you'll notice that in the instructions it tells you to cut it into cubes. I chose to do sticks because my son actually is on doing baby-led weaning and not really on purees. So I thought I'd cut them into sticks to make it easier for him, but there you are. You can see, I think that was a better timing because they aren't as overcooked. Like I did a test run yesterday, and the zucchini actually overcooked way too much. So dump it onto there for you so you can see. Yeah. So I think it's still actually a little bit overcooked for my liking, so I probably only just do it for a few minutes, maybe even 5 minutes, just because zucchini cooks so quickly. I thought I'd give a frozen food a go, so I chopped up some frozen yams the other day, or chopped up some yams the other day and froze them. They're kind of all different pieces, so that there's a bigger piece. So we'll just see how this does in the steamer as well. I'm just gonna go and quickly dump this and refill the water reservoir and turn it back on, and I'll set it for 15 minutes this time, and then that way I'll be able to show you the puree function afterwards. Okay, so I'm about to go ahead and steam the from frozen and see how that works out. So again, you need to drop this net back in, and you can see that there's a little divot or hole, whatever, notch I guess you could say, for the steam basket to fit into. So make sure that that is secure. That's what it looks like on the inside. There's a chopper blade underneath it. So pop that in, and then put in your yams or whatever you want, your food. You can also cook meat in here, it says. I haven't tried that yet, but when I manage to get to the grocery store, I will try that out later on. So here we go again. Need to make sure that that is pushed flush, so that it's flush here and you don't feel the ledge sticking over. So there it is. Pop it in and start from that way, and then turn it counterclockwise or to the left, to the right, turn to the right so that it locks into place. And again, you can see how the lid has come off, so just make sure that you pop it over. I also just quickly refilled the water reservoir so it's back up at the red line. It had gone about halfway down with the 10 minutes of steaming. So just turn that to make sure it's locked, and let's turn this guy back on, and I will hit steam, and let's just go for 15 minutes and see how it goes this time. So I'll be back in a little bit. There's all the frozen stuff. Okay, so there's less than a minute left on this guy here, and I'm got the frozen yams. You can't really see it, but it's in there. You can see there's a collection of water at the bottom. I'm gonna have to dump that out, but I will test out the puree function to see how it goes. I should probably also mention that I got this machine free from a giveaway by Vita Daily. Super grateful and happy that I won. So I decided to test it out. There's the beeping. But I thought I'd do a review just because a mother friend of mine had mentioned that no one has done a review yet on online, at least a video review, so I thought I would give this a go. So this is totally rookie and amateur because I have no idea what I'm doing, but just thought I would help other people out who don't have the machine, who are contemplating buying it just because it's a new product. I do know it's relatively new, and I think they're based out of Vancouver, if I am remembering correctly here. But yeah, so super grateful that I got this for free, but they are not whatever, pay me or anything like that to do this review, so this is just totally me just doing it on my own to help other people. Okay, so it just beeped 5 times to let me know that it's done. Again, I'm gonna pull this out, and of course it's beeping again, so I'm just gonna shut this off. Press and hold for a few seconds. All right, so lid is still locked on there, and it says it's no spill. Okay, so it is no spill except for that one hole that the steam was going in through. So there is some spillage, I guess, from that aspect, but the rest of the container seems pretty legit and non-spill. Twist that off. This is really hard to do with one hand. And super steamy, but yeah, the yams look pretty good. So I'll just quickly dump them out onto this plate so you can see. And it looks legit, it looks pretty good. Feels mushy, so definitely soft enough to puree. Let me just grab a fork. So you can see how mushy it is and still juicy it is. And I guess it retains the water because it's steamed. So yeah, I think 15 minutes was definitely more than enough to cook from frozen. Mind you, I had different slices, different sizes, and even the thicker chunks of them has cooked thoroughly through. So I'm going to test out the puree function. I've never used it before, but you can choose to leave the water in, or you can choose to dump it out. So I'm going to just quickly dump it out because I don't care for it. Okay, so it says dump all the stuff back in. Food in. So here it is with the chopper blade, just the chopper blade and the yams or sweet potatoes, whatever you want to call them. And then it came with this lid, and it says a spill-proof cover. So it says that we need to put that on and align that with the hole there. So that's all secure. And then I'm going to put this orange lid back on it. So again, line it up from the left, bring it to the right, left to right to close it, and pop it in. So left to right. And again, this is hard to do with one hand, but I think that's in. It feels like it's secure. Except for this lid has just readjusted, so we just need to make sure that that gets popped in okay. Okay, and I'll turn it back on. And let's try the manual blend first. So this one, ooh, that's pretty good. So just popping it once. There it goes. And then I'll hit the auto blend. Not bad. Okay, so that just kept going. So I guess it goes through a bunch of different cycles. I didn't really fully read the instructions on how to puree just because I didn't think I would be using it. But yeah, so it was just kind of going on its own. And it looks like it's chopped up quite well. Let's just take a look at it. I need to remember to turn off the power before I take it out because it just starts beeping. Okay, so here we go. Lid off, take the no spill cover, and I mean, it's not horrible, but there's still a lot of big chunks in there. But I think it's also just because I didn't use that much food in there, so I suppose there must be a minimum amount of food. So there's a maximum, there's a measurements on the side, but it says 300 milliliters max. I don't know if there was a minimum, but I'll give this a tap. A quick scrape with the fork and see if I can get it to puree a little bit more or a little bit better. So I think for me, just because I'm cooking in smaller portions, I don't necessarily need to cook a large chunk, a lot of all this yam, I guess, suppose at one time. it doesn't really make sense for me to have a minimum, but I guess that just kind of works anyways. Like with any blenders, you need to have a certain amount of stuff in it for it to blend properly, for it to work. So let's give this a go. I'm gonna just kind of stack it on one side and see if that helps. Okay, no spill cover back in. And then here's the lid. Oh, I always do this, but I feel like it's backwards of what I want it to do. Like where I want it to be lined up. I feel like it needs to be on this side and then going to the left. But that's just me. Okay, so again, drop it in. Okay, and then that way, and just make sure that the lid is secure. It always pops out every time I put it on. There's a power button, and let's go with auto blend. Okay, auto blend. The blade is just kind of spinning. So I didn't know really how to shut it off except for pressing manual blend. I'll look that up in a second. But same deal. It's not really, oh, I did it again. It's not really chopping much at this point or pureeing very much. It's just kind of spinning. So maybe if I added some water, it would help. But I don't really want it. I wanted a thicker paste puree, I suppose. Yeah, I guess if I had more in there, it would be better. But this works for me. I think the consistency is okay. I just wish that it would kind of cut up a little bit better, given the smaller amount that I put in there. So, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good product for the steamer. I can definitely see myself using the steamer function of it. I haven't tried any meats like I mentioned, but I will give that a go and see how that works out when I do pick up some more meat to restock our fridge. But not bad. That's sort of the consistency there. So if I dump this on a plate, you can kind of see what it's pureed to. So not bad, actually. That's pretty good, I think. I didn't need it to be pulverized into mush, but, well, it is mush, but not like super fine. So I think this offers a little bit more fiber in it, I suppose, which is good overall, I think, rather than to have it processed, super processed. So I think this is pretty good for what I need it to be. So let me see here. The instructions for when it's blending says auto blend. So you can use the auto blend function up to 6 times. It doesn't say how to stop the auto blend though. I didn't see anywhere that said how to stop it, but it also has this cleaning auto clean function, which is basically just taking out any puree from it and filling up the cup with water and running it to the max clean line, which is 300 milliliters. And putting on the lids and then running it. So kind of like how you would do that with a blender. You would just run it anyways and then drain the water out, and then you could sterilize the container. So to me, that's not really cleaning because it's not like washing it out with suds. So like maybe for vegetables that'd be okay, but I would definitely need to like wash it out with my hand and soap and water and stuff like that. If it was a meat product, that would not be sanitary enough for me just to run it that way. Yeah, so there's a sterilizing function on it as well, and you can add small items into the steamer cup if you wanted to sterilize them, like bottle nipples and pacifiers or any other little small items. Warming, so you can use the back part of it as a bottle warmer, so that's really cool as well. Yeah, so I think it's a cool product. My particular giveaway thing came with a whole bunch of different things, like the non-spill bowl, the suction bowl, and the bib as well. I have the bib here. I quite like the bib. The bib is actually rounded out so that it fits to the body a little bit better, which I quite like, because the other silicone bib that I had was just flat. And I found that my kiddo, this container part of it was also really flat. So my kiddo would just like kind of flop around with it, and it wouldn't catch a lot of the stuff from his high chair tray, because there would be a gap between the high chair tray and his body. But this particular design actually does catch quite a bit of it, so I like that. And I like the belly. Oh, it's almost like a little belly in there that that helps mold to the body better. The only thing that I would that I have a little bit of a quirk about is how wide this part is here. I find that it goes right up to my son's shoulders. My son's like a decent size for 7 months today, so I think that it could have been made a little bit more slimmer maybe, and not as wide, but it works, and it's still like he'll grow into it. So I think it'll be something that he'll just grow into over time. I hope this review was good, and I hope you enjoyed it, and hope it helps everyone else who is looking to buy this product.